Are you looking to deck out your new ride, update Old Faithful, or just show off those sponsors that keep us going? Check out Maddox Designs on Facebook for your decal needs. Whether you're needing a new name number set for your race car or just needing some decals for your business, they will be able to help.
Paul Mosley made the decision in 2005 to make the business a go full-time. For 20 years now, he's cemented his name as one of the transmissions of choice. He's supplied many of successful names in the sport. No matter if it's your everyday driver or your hot rod, call on Paul's Transmission for your tranny needs. You can contact Paul's Transmission at 864-592-1129.
Oh man, it's all kind of a blur. Racing Jeff Serra, who might very well be regarded as the best ever, in my opinion. He's the best right now. And the way that Jeff races is unique. You know, I mean, he likes to hold a bunch. He's going to make the race look really difficult. I feel like the way that he approaches things, obviously it puts a lot of pressure on him to be Jeff Serra, right? To wreck the tree and take the stripe really tight. It also puts a lot of pressure on his opponents because you're not going to have any reference for what happened on the starting line. Like, no matter what, he's holding so much that he's going to be in front of you. So I was just repeating to myself, like, hit the tree and be super disciplined. I thought I could go like 100th under, just get down there and kill 100th, and if he gets under it, he gets under it. And obviously the way that the race played out, what happened on the starting line was exactly what I expected. I'm 003, he's 006, but I never would have anticipated him having trouble. So it made the down track much easier, I guess, than I had anticipated. I wish we could have had a better race, but I'm proud of myself. I was going to make the run that I wanted to make. I'm not confident that he wouldn't have beat it, but I was making the run that I wanted to make, so that feels good. It was pretty surreal. Like, on the track, I actually thought that Jeff had broke an input shaft or something, like he just kind of disappeared mid-track, and so I got out and talked to him about what had happened and went over, and he was very, very gracious and congratulated me, and we had a moment there, and then he drove off, so I'm parked up at the top of the hill here at Vegas, and it was just kind of surreal. I allowed myself probably 15, 20 seconds to just take it all in. You know, it's dark and you've got the Vegas skyline in the distance, and it just like that. I just thought to myself, it's never going to get any better than this. And then coast down to where everyone's at and to be greeted by my wife and my sons, and then, you know, kind of to kick off the celebration. Yeah, those are the moments that you just never forget. I mean, I tell everybody that races at this level, like, you should experience winning something like this. You know, whether it's everybody that pours their heart into this deserves that moment once, whether it's here at US Nationals or what have you. And you think it's a once in a lifetime thing, and it should be a once in a lifetime thing, and to be able to relive it, you know, 7 years later. And it's Gary, when I won in 17, was about the age that my youngest Jack is now. So for him to actually kind of see it and relive it the first time and just kind of watch it through their eyes. Hi, I'm Luke Bogacki for thisisbracketracing.com. Back in February of 2009, we launched TIBR, and we've been in the business of helping sportsman racers reach their potential ever since. I developed thisisbracketracing.com based on the way in which I learn. I'm a reader. I like to process information at my own pace and implement what I've learned over time. Racers who learn the same way that I do immediately gravitated toward TIBR, and those racers have been the backbone of our site since its inception. Some things, however, became apparent very early in the life of our website. The most obvious is that the way that I learn isn't for everyone. In fact, I'd say that I'm in the minority. Most of you don't want to sift through a bunch of information and decide how to use it. Our society as a whole is more visceral than that. No, today we want to be shown hands-on. This is how you do it. This is why. And that brings us to this new age of TIBR. All of the written tutorials that our members have come to cherish and depend on are still available. In addition, we'll be introducing several new TIBR Pro videos. In the videos, we'll not only discuss the strategies and philosophies behind thisisbracketracing.com, but we'll also get a chance to illustrate them. Something else new and different is that none of the information here on TIBR, written or video, will be subscription-based. You see a video that you'd like to watch? Purchase it individually and have access to it for the life of the website. See a written tutorial that you'd like to read? Purchase it and read it as many times as you'd like. There's no commitment to purchase additional information. You can pick and choose topics that you think are applicable to your racing. If you like the content and you learn from it, you can purchase additional videos or written lessons. If it's not for you, hopefully you've gained something from the experience with a minimal investment. Bottom line, we've tried to personalize TIBR to you. You call the shots. No commitments, no obligations. The look of TIBR has changed. It's more exciting. It's more interactive. But the basis of the website remains the same. Our singular goal is to help each of you become better racers. The addition of this new line of TIBR Pro videos and the new structure of the site should make that goal a more realistic and enjoyable reality. Thank y'all all so much.
That Rabbit Stick Show coming at you live, buddy.
What's going on? How are you?
Oh, man, this is a big show for us. It's one of the biggest ones we've had.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Luke Bogacki in the house.
We've had this on our calendar for a few weeks, haven't we?
yeah. I'm excited. Race season's winding down. Looks like the HRA race this week was a big
hit for sure.
Very big, and a lot of guys. If you want, we can bring Chad in, and he can kind of fill us in on who all did what. And I think they had a race at Farmington, didn't they? Foot brake.
Yeah, thank you, fellas, for letting me be on the show, especially with our special guest tonight. But yeah, the IHRA had their national event. I forget the exact word.
The finals, the Nitro Game, Nitro. Yeah, that was the finals for them.
Yeah, and I think we had some local racers with some success. I think Rusty might have the actual results, but I know Scott Duggins won in top dragster.
Yeah, Bruce Holland runnered up to him. So that's pretty cool. Two local guys, and two good buddies squaring off. That's we'll go a little further. That's two power motors and two Maddox whips too. So that's pretty cool too. So
good combination.
I was thinking the other day about Scott's little at the banquet when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame there at Greer's banquet, and he mentioned I don't know the exact words, but like that he wasn't done yet. He still had it. And I thought when I seen the way the ladder played out, if he had to run Patrick Forrester, and if he beats Forrester, he's got to buy the next round that puts him in the finals. And I saw Bruce was on the other side of the ladder, but I was thinking, if Scott makes it to the finals and he winds up winning, I was like, he's right back at it, And I think he was pretty solid on the tree.
I think the run was 00 to the last run. I think he might have been 14 or something, but he was
teen in the final. I don't know what, but yeah.
Well, I know that it was earlier in the year. He was over helping Josh with the dragster, and Josh was, I forget whatever, and And Scott was ratting a little bit. He said, well, what about that reaction time? And he's like, Dad. And anyway, the phrase I'm getting at is Scott told Josh, he says, I might be old, but my Turner loose still works. So.
That's right. Yeah. Well, then you had you had went to Farmington there for the Foot Brake Nationals, and it was cool to see Ralph DeLoach runner it up on Saturday. Is that correct, Chad?
Correct. Yeah, to Justin Holston, and Daryl Powell let me come wheel his ride, and so I'm thankful for the opportunity to make another lap down the track this year. But I exited second round, so I got to watch. I didn't stay to the end, but I did watch the next few rounds because I wasn't staying for Sunday. But man, Ralph had that old Cougar dialed in. I mean, it was 708, 708, 708, and 707. I mean, I think he was dead on in the finals. Justin must have had him covered a little bit on the reaction time, but he had that old Cougar dialed in, that's for sure. So,
yeah, I had a couple more, and we'll get through them quick. Rockingham had a 2-day, 210s on Saturday and Sunday to win in Super Pro. My boy Ryan Mason picked up. That was his first win. So he carried Team CW. First win in a big car, I should say. But he carried Team CW this past weekend. But that was cool to see him get the win on Saturday night, Sunday morning early. And then Kevin Blevins was runner up in pro or no box, foot brake, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday as well. And then on Sunday, I seen where TG Pascal run himself in the final.
Yeah.
And then Dustin Carroll picked up the win in pro and in the sports. So he had a good day on Sunday. And then I guess not to be outdone by his dad, Sawyer, went one round further, and he picked up the win in junior dragster, Sawyer Blevins. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's the only thing I had as far as results around here. And as always, we might have missed, and we probably do miss. But guys, send us your results if we can't be on top of it. But that's all I had. I don't know of any other results for locals.
Only other thing I think I'll mention, I think Ware Shoals had their banquet Sunday to, award their track champions. So congratulations. I know we covered that in previous episode, but congratulations once again to the track champions at
Ware. Oh yeah,
for sure. Yep. Y'all want to bring Luke in?
Yeah, let's bring Luke in. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
It's good having you, man, and congratulations on your IHRA history making. Was it top and mod? Did you? How far did you get into that race when you thought, man, I might be able to pull this off?
Well, first off, thanks for having me on. That's a good question. I was fighting some things car-wise, and like you guys know the way that race is structured. Like I felt like I'd won when I won first round in both classes. I'm like, I paid for this trip and then some, right? This is awesome. I think it's like $800 to win first round in both, and it's such a limited field, like a prestigious field to get to compete in the first place. Like everybody there earned their spot. But at the same time, there's maybe 50 cars in each class. So as you start going a couple rounds, it goes quick. And I think probably, I think it was like fourth round, I'm down to, well, honestly, I'm not just going to say this because Chad's here. Like Chad was one of the few people there that I knew. And obviously I had a ton of respect for him as a racer. Well, we ran in round 3. And I thought, boy, if I could figure out a way to get past this one. And when I won that round is probably the first time I started letting myself think like, oh, you could win this whole thing. And right after that, we're down to 6 in both. So now it seems relatively close. And that's probably the first time that I allowed it to cross my mind, like, oh, this could be a really special day. I still, even going into the final, I didn't really dream it would turn out as good as it did. Like, that's the one that you couldn't script any better. But that was probably about the time that I allowed myself to believe, like, oh, this could all happen.
That's cool.
Had you ever? I know a lot of people, just like we talk about TJ Pascal run himself in the finals. Have you run into them situations or doubled up in the two different rod classes in some of your class racing? And have you ever hit two wins in the same day before?
Yeah, there's a handful of times probably on both. I'm trying to, like, I've run myself in the final a couple of times. And then the two classes in one day probably a little bit more. Like, I did that once at the national event level, which was really special, and it'll stick with me forever. And then there was done it once at our home track, and I was actually driving like two cars I'd never sat in before. I was driving for a buddy of mine, so it's amazing how things kind of fall into place like that sometimes. And those drag race results series races back. I'm aging myself. It feels like yesterday. It's been like 15 years ago. There was maybe a couple of those, but one I remember out in West Texas where I nearly ran the table, and I think I won two classes in a day and maybe even three on the weekend. So yeah, there's a few like that stand out for sure.
Crazy. Now, didn't your youngest one go out there with you to steal?
He did, yeah.
I think I seen where you had said he thought he was going to hang with Dad, but he was really for the golf cart race. Is that?
Yeah, I realized pretty quick that all he was really interested in was the golf cart race. And I mean, y'all probably saw my Facebook post, but it was pretty comical. Like, they said you could double enter, and I'm like, okay, well, Jack, I'll drive once and you can ride with me, and then you can drive the other and I'll ride with you. And I thought that was being pretty gracious, right? And he just looked me dead in the eye and was like, no, I think I'll just double. All right, well, I'll just ride with you twice, buddy. So, but that was probably the highlight of the weekend. That was fun. And he, my little guy, like, he's 7, but he's been around it his whole life, and he's really like is locked in and cares. He pays way more attention than I had realized till he actually started racing himself. But it's like first round of the golf cart race, he's running up on this older couple, and I said, Jack, I don't know if you're going to get there, buddy. I think you're going to have to hold it to the floor. And about the time I say that, I see him just pumping the gas pedal, and we don't get time slips, but the scoreboard's lit up, and we're both above, and his run light was come on. So he saw it way better than I did.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Luke, obviously, I mean, the IHRA weekend, but between it and your NHRA accomplishments, I mean, you're now a 5-time world champion and 2-time $1 million race winner, as we saw in the opening videos. Do you get tired of hearing those accolades? Does it get old to you, or does it still feel as fresh?
No, I mean, there is, just to hear you say that, I still kind of shake my head in disbelief. Like, I grew up, I think, just like each of you guys, like idolizing the people that did well in the sport and always wanted to be around it and be a part of it. And I felt like I dreamed pretty big, but I'd have never dreamed that you would stack up a resume like that. So I still kind of it's pretty incredible. And you can go back through each one of them and go, like, I got a really big break here and there, and it just kind of fell into place. But then it starts stacking up, and you're like, wow, like look at what we've done here. It's pretty incredible.
That's cool. Yeah. And what I like about it is you've stayed hungry. It's not that the hunger's never really, don't get me wrong. I know you go through times, everybody does as a racer, but I feel like you still got that hunger and desire to. Things have changed a lot over the last several years, but I mean, you still have that desire to get after it,
I've always loved the competition, like the challenge of it. I mean, I love a lot of things about racing. I love the people and the mechanical aspect and all of it, but I just I feel like I get just as fired up and want to win just as bad on a Saturday night at I-57 as I do the IHR World Finals or the U.S. Nationals. Like, to me, it's all the same. It's just another chance to go do this thing that I always wanted to do. And so, yeah, I mean, I think all of us at times we go through periods of questioning, like, why do we put so much time and effort and money into this? And like, I'm no stranger to getting burnt out every now and then. But I'd say I've been really fortunate over the years that I've done this to just always. Edmund Richardson told me once when I was younger and I didn't really understand it. He said something like, there's nothing worse than being at the one place that you always wanted to be, like the racetrack, and not really wanting to be there. And I thought, man, that's crazy. Like I can't imagine not wanting to be there. And I've had twinges of that, in my life, but thankfully, like it's never stuck with me long at all. Like I think I love this more now than I did when I was 8 years old. And I hadn't wavered much,
Right. Oh,
with all of the accolades that Chad just mentioned, which one would you label as? Which would you, if you had to label top 2 or 3, which are you the most proudest, or what? Which? Because I mean, it's just amazing what you've done. Are they one in particular accomplishment that you achieved that you could say that's probably the most proudest or best? Or
I don't know that I've ever given this much thought. That's a good question. Like there's days that I think will stick out as memories that I'll never forget. And I mean, one doesn't have anything to do with great accolades. Like I ran my wife in the final one night at home, and years ago, before she was my wife, we were just dating. And of course she cracked me, but like that was one of the coolest things ever. But as far as like big accomplishments, if I had to pick one that I would put on a pedestal, and a lot of people would kind of give me a side eye on this, it would probably be my first NHRA World Championship, and partially just because it was in Super Comp. Like that was the one class for whatever reason. It was probably a result of growing up watching Scotty and Edmund at a time when they were just dominating that scene. And I was really close with Tommy Phillips. So like that class was kind of like the pinnacle. Like that's where I wanted to end up. So I think to win the championship, and it was my first championship, and to be in Super Comp especially, like if you had to pick one and say like that's the crowning jewel, or if you throw everything else away and stick to that might be the one that I'm the proudest of.
Yeah. You touched on it. I want to touch this since you touched on it. How many times have you had to run your wife? And obviously you done said you run in the finals one time. I just want to know what the win-loss ratio is on that.
She could tell you exactly, but I will tell you this much. We have squared up. I think everyone has been at I-57. Like I joke with her all the time because she won the Super Comp at a division race here in St. Louis, like our closest NHRA track. It's probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I tell her all the time that her biggest break was that I lost third round, because we would have met on the latter fourth round. And I was like, that was your break of the day, right? That I didn't get there. And we joke about that. But no, she could tell you exactly. I'm going to say we've run 6 or 7 times, but I can promise you this, she's ahead. Like it's 4-2 or 5-2 or something. Yeah, she owns me in more ways. Yeah. No. There's. I'm not telling a story, and there's no side work going on. Like she just kicks my rear end. She's one. Like, she doesn't give herself any credit. She's really talented, and she does a really good job. And she tends to rise to the occasion when I'm in the other lane for sure.
Well, I was going to ask another question, but I want to feed off that one now. So, like when she's running Super Comp and this, I mean, I'm sure it's a team strategy, but do you let her make the final decisions on throttle stops and delay boxes and stuff? So
she is dependent on me from like, she doesn't really get into the weather and the dialing as much, right? So I will tell her, hey, here's what I think you can go. And I laugh all the time because she says this is in my head. I think she does way better when I don't go up there with her. Like I feel like it's just let her be on her own. So typically I tell her what I think she's going, and me and the boys go to the finish line and watch. And we're at the $1 million race, and she comes up, and I told Gary and Jack, I was like, hey, mommy should be dialed like 58, 59. And I'm not even paying attention because we're at the finish line. I can't really see the cars on the starting line. And somebody rolls up dialed like 63. And I'm like, well, they announce. I'm like, that's my, I said, good Lord. And her opponent red lights and she sails it through like 57 on a 63. And there's these people standing beside me. They're like, did she think she could go that fast? I'm like, I told her she could go 57.5. She just decided to dial 63. Right? So yeah, I do like her. I like her mindset for sure, but I tend to leave her alone. But like I say, the weather prediction or the ET that falls on me. But from there on, it's all in her hands.
Nice. So talking about the big races and stuff, maybe it's just me, but do you find yourself sitting around reliving those moments at times, or for maybe you're at a race in a confidence setting, I done this. I mean, do you relive races a lot of times?
It's funny because I was watching that intro video from Vegas, and I don't know that I've thought about that final much in the last year and a half, and going through that mindset to race Jeff was kind of cool. It brought a lot of it back. I would say, Chad, for me, I do occasionally, but it's like super intentional. It's when I'm maybe not feeling a lot of confidence around my racing. Like I'll go back and relive that and just kind of get back into that moment. And it's just kind of a reminder like, okay, this is what you're capable of. You can do this, things like that. Outside of that, like I don't find myself falling back into those memories very often unless it's kind of almost forced, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's probably my experience.
Yeah. Now you mentioned about Edmund giving you that little piece of advice and stuff. And I've sort of followed you. I think we're close to the same age, but I remember you coming, and I'm gonna tell my age, the old B&M days, and
sure.
You went into the divisions, and that's when I first started. Obviously, there wasn't social media. There wasn't, we had Drag Review and National Dragster, and that was about it. But I remember you coming out this way more and racing over this way. But also I remember hearing you talk and reading things about you and your dad and how what he meant to you. And I think the four of us right now, our dads played a huge role in where we're at now. But did he or another racer give you some advice that's like always stuck with you besides what Edmund kind of told you? Is there something out there that's always is with you?
Yeah. So there's been so much along the way. Like my dad was just like you said, like super instrumental. He raced. So, and just like, I think most kids, and I even see it in my kids every now and then, like I looked at my dad driving this machine that seems like he couldn't tame it. And it seemed like he had it under control. Right. And so he was my hero, and I just wanted to be like that. So I don't think there was ever a doubt in my mind that I wanted the opportunity to do the same thing when that day came. But my dad, and looking back now, it seems like really obvious as to why. So I was actually born in Southern California and lived there till I was 8 years old. And then my dad took a job in Texas and we relocated. Didn't really realize at that moment that we were going into what at that time was like the heart of bracket racing, kind of like y'all's area with here and that area. Like at that time, we lived 3 miles from Texas Raceway, which is where Scotty and Edmund grew up, and the Heffler brothers grew up, and Tommy Phillips, and I could go on down the list. So my dad, long story short, I watched my dad. I went racing with my dad from the time I was probably 3 or 4 years old until I started driving a big car, and I never saw him win a race, like never saw him make a final. Like he understood all of the fundamentals, and he didn't have great equipment, but like I wouldn't say he was a great racer. Now looking back, like he came from what at that time, Southern California was probably a decade behind everybody else and went to the biggest hornet's nest you could go to, right? So I think a lot of it was justified. But so obviously tons of life lessons and that I look back on from my dad, but from a racing standpoint, what really opened my eyes was the best thing that happened to me and certainly didn't realize it at the time. Like I crashed my bicycle when I was 12, and I had started racing junior dragsters that year. It was the first year that they kind of had juniors, and I got stitches and on crutches for a couple weeks, couldn't race. So my dad said, well, like we'll just go out to the track early so that I can park you right at the finish line. That way you can watch and keep up with what's going on because you're not super mobile, right? And I remember watching Scotty Richardson, and I'm sitting probably on the hood of this truck, right, with my leg all casted up. And it's obvious as they come up to us, Scotty Aiken is not going to catch this dude that he's running. He's in his old Camaro, and he hits the brakes. And I'm standing there going, why did he do that? Like, he wasn't. And at that point, all I knew was if you were ahead, you lifted, right? So you didn't break out. That was the extent of my racing knowledge. I'm like, why did you do that? That didn't make any sense. And my dad come back, and I'm like, hey, I just watched Scotty, and like he wasn't going to get there first, and he hit the brakes. Why did he do that? And he's like, I don't know. I don't get it, right? I mean, we were both just right. So it's literally like I'm in the middle of school a week later, and I'm like, if the other guy broke out, like he could have broke out by more. Maybe that's what he did, right? So I started paying attention, like the pieces start coming together, and I was so fortunate, looking back now, to be surrounded by, and I use Scotty and Edmund as an example because I think we all set them on a pedestal and looked up to them. But there were so many racers that were, I think, in a lot of ways in our area, like they elevated the game, and we all had to get better. But there was so many opportunities to learn from A, just watching guys like that, and then B, our home track atmosphere was kind of a lot of what I feel from you guys. At Greer, like everybody's kind of family, and so everybody's willing to talk about it and share. And I was able to soak in so much. So the question was like one specific piece of information that sticks with me. I think there's a bunch of them, but nothing really jumps to mind, right?
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, that was actually, I had another note here. I was thinking about, you kind of touched on it about, you hear the debates of, well, this state's better than this state. We got better racers here, or our track's better. And yourself, I mean, we're blessed in our area, what I think's pretty tough competition, and not just at Greer, but there's so many, the North Carolina scene, and y'all were the same way out there. And I just think it would be cool to have been in that scene, just see what you saw as a kid. Because I was, and Chad, I feel like, and Tom same way, but they pick at us about being nerdy and like about knowing who people are from years past. They give me and Chad a hard time, but I think I would have been that guy, like sitting there with you, but
I grew up, before I ever raced. And before the insurance laws started getting passed, I was the kid out there pouring, and you had to back into the water box. There wasn't none of this pulling through. So, you had a barrel with a gallon old
antifreeze jug, yeah.
And yeah. I'm out there pouring water. It didn't matter if I knew you or not. I knew what everybody needed to do. You and so that was one of the reasons why my dad ended up selling his car in '87, because the insurance laws come along. I wasn't old enough yet, and he had nobody to help him. I just helped my dad. I helped, y'all know, I helped Bill Revis. Paul Smith, all the anybody. Even if I didn't know you, if you was out there by yourself trying to back in the water, I knew where to make you stop and go. I soaked it all in as much as I could. So
Chad, that brings to mind a funny story. And this is, again, I feel like I'm telling a lot of Scotty and Edmund stories, but just to give a little insight to like their upbringing. So Roger Martin, who is Nathan Martin's father, Nathan won the million several years ago and was Cameron Race Cars when I was growing up. I actually worked for Nathan for a couple of years when I was in high school. Well, Roger's telling me this story, and then he says, yeah, I went to Cedar Creek, which is this little hole-in-the-wall track. It's actually where I started racing before I got a driver's license because they didn't care, right? And he says, I went to Cedar Creek, and usually I think he said his brother would go with him and was that guy, that would put the water down for him and spray the VHT, back when we had to do all of that stuff. And he said he couldn't come. He said, so I'm in the staging lanes and I feel kind of lost. I feel kind of naked. He said, and here's Scotty and Edmund's father, Eddie, was racing, and probably Edmund was racing. And he said, it's like 10-year-old Scotty Richardson's in the staging lanes. And I wave him over. I'm like, hey, Scotty, could you help me out? Like when I go up there, he's got his Dawn bottle full of VHT for his dad. He says, when I go up there, could you squirt me a little bit? And he said, and that little twerp just looked me dead in the eye and said, do you not realize that we're here to whoop you? And walked away.
That's pretty good.
I about died when I heard that one. I think that's about right.
That's good. Yeah, because what's Nathan would have been out there, Jeff Lopez. Yeah, so that's crazy. Tom has talked about your accomplishments and stuff like that. Is there anything that's still like on a bucket list that you would that you're wanting to accomplish? I'm not trying to hurry you into retirement. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think any racer, including probably the ones that have done it, would say like, I would love to win the OG Million. Like it's been, and I hadn't been to all of them, but I've been to a bunch, and like, for all the success that I've had, boy, that race has ate my lunch forever. Like, I bet I think there've been 25. I've probably been to 18, 19, 20. I've made the split twice, and both times in my Vega. Like, you wouldn't think that would be the optimal car for the job. Yeah, so it's owned me pretty good. But no, I would, especially now with it being relatively close to us, if it stays at St. Louis for a while, like I could probably make it most years. So yeah, that would be the one kind of bucket list. Like I'd love to win that, but my goodness, you talk about, especially how that race is now, 400 or 500 entries, obviously the best racers in the world. Like it's a tall order, but yeah, that would be one that would definitely, like I said before, all the races motivate me. So motivate me wouldn't be the right term, but that would be one that I'd love to win for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Tom, what you got for him?
Scotty, wasn't he the one that made the comment? He never won the OG Million, correct, Scotty?
No, he was in the finals, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he didn't. And it was like he won the Spring Fling Million the year it was at Bristol. He runnered up to OG twice, and the second time, like he was actually really mum about it, but I think he got the short end of a stick. Like he got a goofy run in the final and didn't really raise hell about it, but I'm sure that ate him up.
Yeah. Right. But I think I know what's his circumstances is what's happened now, but I mean, it wasn't long before those happened. He said if he ever won the OG, he was done. He was retired. He would never step foot in another race car again. I mean,
I do remember hearing that too, because it surprised me at the time.
You're not going to go so far as to make that comment, though, are you?
No. I mean, kind of like we talked about earlier. If something happened tomorrow and I never got in another race car, like I got no regrets, and this has been a way more incredible ride than I ever would have dreamed. But like until that day comes, you'd have to pry me out. Like I'm not going to volunteer to quit. Sure.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was thinking when he said about prying him out, I was Chad's dad and my dad. I think your dad's 74, and my dad's he's 71, and which your dad's had to kind of quit because of a little bit of health, and my dad's still like.
Shoot,
yeah, he's
only 80 years old. He'll tell you. He said, "I think if you win, I'm gonna win."
Yeah, he's still got that mentality,
I love it. I love to hear him talk. He'll be like, "I still can whoop him. I still got the drive. I'm not gonna quit." My question is, Cohan Luke. Where did that come from? How'd you get that name, and how long have you had it?
So when I was growing up, there's a racer, and I hadn't actually, he used to run up until a couple of years ago. He was on the big money scene quite a bit, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. A racer by the name of Brad Taylor out of East Texas. And Brad's won a bunch of stuff in fairly recent years. But at that time, we would race So we had my home track, which was Kennedale, and a bunch of us would typically venture up to Paris drag strip, race Friday nights, and then usually we'd go down to Temple, it was a couple hours south, and race on Sundays as well. But Friday night at Paris, Brad Taylor ruled the roost, right? He had a drag street run on throttle stop, go like 680s, and I mean won all the time, right? But he was, and so nobody liked him because he won. But for whatever reason, he and my dad struck up a friendship, and we were tight. And he just started calling me Cool Hand Luke when I was like 15, 16 years old. And it just kind of stuck, right? Obviously, it's a movie, the reference from the movie. Yeah. I bet I didn't watch the movie till I was 25. But Brad Taylor was definitely the first one to call me that.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Talking about future things and stuff. I think I read in your 8th Mile email, you made a little comment, but NHRA 2026 schedules come out, and there seemed to be a little bit of a hint or of excitement, or is it in the works for 2026 to go after a NHRA championship again? Or
no,
at least competing events, I guess. Let me word it that way.
Yeah, so I'm actually putting a couple of deals together behind the scenes I can't completely announce yet, but no, just where we're at in life with the boys, and I love the junior racing. Like I never really thought I'd like it as much as I do, and I can't get enough. As long as they're interested in it, I don't want to go to too many races that they can't race at, right? And that's that drawback to the NHRA competition is it's just for Jess and I. But I will readily admit that so when I went through it last year, like I chased the championship last year all the way to Pomona and was in that pressure cooker. And I got to admit, like at the time, I don't want to say it wasn't fun, but like it's a lot and it's so like all consuming, right? Like, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, but it's literally like you would think you would get to a point in life where you could just like think about other stuff. Like for 3 weeks there, I didn't think about anything but the points. You know what I mean? Like you're just so all consumed in it. And then you get done with it. And obviously I didn't come out on top. And, but it was like, okay, that was a really cool experience. Like I'm glad I did it. And I thought I was okay. Like, okay, let's turn the page there. And like, I don't really have to do that anymore. And I watch the guys living it now. And I'm like, oh man, that was so awesome. Like that looks so awesome to be a part of that, even though I didn't come out on top. So I do miss that. And I want to get back to it. So the plan for this year is we're putting together a program, and I hope to be able to chase the Division III stuff. And Jess, my wife, really enjoys that type of race. And for as much BS, if you will, that comes with NHRA competition, like there's a lot of things about that style of racing that I don't love. Once you strap the helmet on, it's really fun, right? Like it's quarter mile with the throttle stop. Like I don't care how good technology is and how much people think they got it figured out. Like none of us really know what we can go. Like, so that's fun. You know what I mean? Like there's just more creativity. So I enjoy that style of competition. So the plan next year is to chase the Division III stuff, build up our program a little bit, build up some grade points to hopefully make another national run in 27. But like I said, there's a few moving parts. But yes, you're right. I definitely am kind of jonesing to move back in that direction. I just really enjoy that style of competition.
Well, with this IHRA Gold Cards, any interest in running any of their events if there works any schedule? Yes.
I mean, obviously things that landscape is changing by the day. So who knows? Like right now it's far enough away from us that I'm not super intrigued, but I assume they're going to have a national event at Killcare. Like I like Killcare. It's like 6 hours from us. I would love to go to that, make use of the gold card. If there's some others in our area, yeah, but for at least another year, we're going to be a little bit more regional and not crisscrossing the country. So, but no, I'm intrigued by what's going on with IHRA, and I'd love to support it if the opportunity come up.
For sure.
I think I know the answer to this, but is there other sports that the Bogackis follow and have interest in outside of drag racing?
It depends which Bogacki, because my oldest son is like a walking sports encyclopedia. Like, I mean, he will wear you out with stats, and it doesn't matter. Like, it could be the most random like stuff I ain't ever heard of, would never follow. Like he's got it. I don't know where he even comes up with all the information. So he's a fan of everything.
Right.
As a family, we are definitely a basketball family. My boys, yeah, the Salukis are in town, which it's been rough being a Saluki fan for the last really since I lived here. But we still enjoy it. We actually, where we just moved, we're closer to the stadium. Not that we were far away before, but so we try to go to those games. I actually think I'm going to take the boys to the Saluki football game this weekend because the weather looks like it'll be nice. Boys like everything. They play basketball and baseball more than anything. And obviously, like as a racer, the basketball schedule fits into the racing season schedule pretty well. There's not much overlap. So that's a natural fit. But for me, for sure, basketball is my favorite sport. And like I say, Gary likes everything. Jack wants to do everything. So I don't know. He's my 7-year-old. Like how he's going to, in his mind, he is going to win the track championship and the world championship and be the MVP in Little League and be the most valuable basketball player and like take on karate and God knows what else. And I'm like, dude, there ain't enough hours in the day. Like I want to support you, but at some point we're gonna have to pick and choose a little bit. But yeah, he's into everything.
I think you must have come to our house. That's the way it is in our house too.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I want to backtrack back to the NHRA for one more question here. So I mean, and I know on your daily podcast, your daily driver podcast, you're doing the whole nerd out stuff, and I enjoy that. I know you belittle yourself sometimes, thinking everybody tunes out when it's. I enjoy it, I really do. But obviously, from the area that we're at, and I did catch your latest episode this afternoon on my way home. We all have an interest in our buddy JJ Brock. I know you didn't handicap it in your latest release, but what's your gut feeling? What's your handicap? What's your chance? What's JJ's chances in your thoughts?
His chances have gone up every week, right? And he's definitely the favorite now. And now, like this new wrinkle, I'm sure you guys saw, like they're going in tomorrow blind, no time trials. Because it's supposed to rain all weekend. So they're going to jump right in completely blind for round one. And the one thing that came to mind there that potentially JJ could be like the biggest beneficiary of that, because coming into the weekend, I think there's 4 drivers that could pass him. 3 of them would have to win the race. And I think it's Evan Kowalski just has to make the final, like just, right? That's all. Right. Now, the thing working against JJ is, as I've said, like the lead has changed hands in Supergas at Pomona 3 years in a row, right? And some of the wildest scenarios you could come up with. So, maybe we're destined for more drama, but this change, I don't know, like nobody really knows what to expect because it's kind of uncharted waters. Like NHRA did this once 15 years ago at Seattle. Like the forecast was bad enough. I think they actually sat through the weekend, if my memory serves, and ran on like Tuesday and was just like, everybody hit the track. We're just going to go and finish this, right? And went in no time trials. That's the only time I think this has ever happened, much less to end the season and potentially decide championships. But the way that they structured it, like they basically in the statement that they made today said, if you can't make it or you don't want to come, like just don't make first round and we'll give you your money back. Okay, cool. Well, there's no like online process for that. So there was, as of yesterday, there was like 55 entries in Supergas. Well, as of today, it was down to 45. How many of those 45 are actually going to show up? The reason I say that is I don't think it drops all the way to 32. But if only 32 cars make first round, now it's a 5-round race. And for JJ, that eliminates 3 of those competitors. Like they can't catch him anymore because there's less points on the table. So if it was to go 5 rounds, it's Kowalski that could pass him, and then he'd have to win. So like I say, my instinct would be to say they still get enough to go 6 rounds, but this is unprecedented. Like, who knows? But yeah, no, I mean, let's say there's 40 cars there. Anybody to pass JJ has to win the race or Kowalski would have to make the final. It's like that's any one individual, like that's a really long shot. But then you zoom out and you're like, well, it's 4 out of 40. and it might be the 4 best racers there. So like, I like his chances, but at the same time, if I was JJ, I wouldn't sleep real good tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough situation to be in. So it's the whole deal tomorrow is going to be super fun to watch. And like I say, there's a part of me that's like, oh man, you know, like I'm glad I'm not living that. And then I think about it and I'm like, no, that'd be awesome to live. You know what I mean? So
I know you went to college. What did you go to college to do? And if the racing hadn't have took off, what would you probably be doing today? I'm just curious.
That's a good question. Since I hadn't had to think about like a real job in a long time. Yeah. So I actually, this will clue you in a little bit to like where my mind was, obviously. I got my business degree at a small school close to where I grew up. It's called Northwood University. And my degree is actually in automotive aftermarket business management. Now, that was the curriculum of that was more designed to like run your own AutoZone or O'Reilly's, you know, was kind of the idea behind it, but it was very much in the industry. Like as part of our curriculum, we went to SEMA 2 of my 4 years, you know, and stuff like that. So I was very much around the industry. Now, I don't know, like a couple of my classmates went to work at Jasper Engines in Indiana, and I believe one is managing like an O'Reilly's currently that lines up right like that. So maybe it's that path. When I got out of school, I went to work at Huntsville Engine for a couple of years, and I was never, Lord knows you don't want me putting your motor together. Like I'm not really that guy. So I was more in the office and doing marketing kind of stuff like that. And then I ventured out on my own, and I've never really made my way back to the workforce. I can't imagine doing something outside of, you know, racing, motorsports, or at least the automotive industry. And I guess, you know, to some degree, I've got the education to back that up. But it's a good question that I just hadn't had to think about in a long time. Yeah. I kept thinking, you know, like I laughed at some of my old, you know, racing experiences, like the last summer that I had in between, like junior and senior year of college. I'm like, I can do this. Like I can afford it. Like I'll just go racing, because when in my life am I going to have this opportunity where I don't have anybody to answer to? Like, little did I realize that 20 years later, I still wouldn't have any direction in life.
There was one other question I had was, if there was ever an opportunity given, would Luke Bogacki try a fuel car or a pro stocker?
Man, like the nitro cars have zero appeal to me. Like they scare me, to be completely honest. And I mean, Langdon might like hit me in the head if I said this. Like because maybe I'm wrong. Like I think there's a ton of skill in just having the balls to stand on the pedal. But outside of that, like I don't know that there's a whole lot to driving them. Right. Like a pro stock car would be intriguing. Like I think that's really challenging, and I would love, if given the opportunity, like I'd like to make one pass in one. Like I haven't been around. Like I was fairly close with Dave Connolly when he was racing pro stock, and being around Jeg a little bit. Like there's so much like behind the scenes drama and all. Like that's not really my scene. I don't know that I would like being a part of that, but I would love to sit in one and try it once just to see if I could do it.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
Also, I've seen videos where like Greg Anderson and then they go over there to Moore's on like scuffing tires. That's me. Just let me do I just want to scuff your tires in. let me burn it out through there about.
I want to do a burnout, back up, let the wheelie bars hit, and you can have it. Like just
the old school dry hop days.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. So, Chad or Tom, you got anything else for me?
I got one more with equipment. I mean, honestly, these cars are about the same. Everybody has strategies. Some people holds 1, 2, 3. Some people flat foot. Cars, I mean, honestly, if the weather's just halfway decent, the tracks are good. I mean, I feel like we see a lot of times people crawls in a car that they ain't never drove. But most of the time they all about the same people. But what what do you think your edge is on your performance edge is on everybody else? Because I mean, a lot of people of today, they're doing the bracket school. They're your school. You had I was fortunate enough. Scotty come to Greer and had a little school, and I went and did it. And I watch your stuff. I bought some of your stuff and watched. I think but a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are, and you see people 001 in the left, 002 in the right, 003, just like, that $1 million race with you and Sierra. That was going to be a good one. It would have been fun to watch as a spectator. If y'all would have went down to the other end and seen what happened.
Sure.
But what do you think your edge is? It just, a lot of people, I pulled in the lanes, luck, this or that. I'm a firm believer you make your own luck. I think I remember old Fuka saying that years and years ago, something to that sort. But what do you think your edge is? You focus better than most people, or you just?
I think there's a few things that I would kind of hang my hat on, at least in my mind, that I feel like give me the edge. And I think that's a lot of it, is believing that you have that edge, whether that's really accurate or not. Right. For me, I would probably start with like strategic flexibility, and being able to kind of mold my game plan to what I think the current situation needs most. That, kind of to your point, I think the value of that is diminished quite a bit over the last 20 years because equipment is so much better and racers are smarter, all the way down the line. So the margins are slimmer, right? But I still think that there are windows to take advantage of where, it's whatever, there's a headwind and everybody's slow and maybe nobody realizes why you're slow. I'm not afraid to dial up a bunch and hold because I feel like I can do that. And then I feel like I've come a long way in the last decade because I grew up racing junk, for lack of a better word, right? And so the only way to win, and I was in an area where you're watching Scotty and Edmund hold God knows what, and that's the way to race, right? So I very much grew up racing like that. Well, to the point where when I got good stuff, it took me 5 years to where I could take advantage of it because I was always trying to do way too much. Right. So I think now, and again, over the last 10 years, I've become more willing to say well, this thing hadn't moved in 5 runs, and if I can BO, they probably can't beat me. You know what I mean? So be willing to when that situation presents itself, hold it on the floor without ego telling me, no, you got to dial up some because that's cool, or you can't, or what have you, right? And just taking advantage, kind of taking inventory of the situation round by round and kind of adapting my game plan to fit whatever makes the most sense. That's probably what sticks out the most. And then maybe it is experience and having lived it, but I think some of it's just maturity, for lack of a better word, just the belief that even if I've gone out and sucked for 2 months and it's kind of that way rolling into the World Finals, to be completely honest, just that confidence that no, if things break right, I can do this, and I don't know that I had that 10, certainly not 20 years ago. Right. And like I said, I don't know if it's more of experience or accumulating wins or if it's more of just kind of growing up, but I definitely feel more secure in that than I ever did.
That's cool. Yeah.
I know finding things down, and we'll give you an opportunity to promote your products and schools and stuff. But I know one of the things you mentioned, you hinted around with the junior dragsters and your kids. I know you referenced earlier racing your wife. I'm as a father, I know what you're going to say, but how much enjoyment do you get out of watching your kids race, and especially if they do have success?
Yeah, no, a lot more than I realized when we started. I said earlier, like I'm never going to volunteer. You're going to have to pry me out of the car. The one exception to that would be, and I don't know that my boys will fall in love with this the way that I have. Like right now, especially my youngest, it's hard to imagine him not. But he's 7. Like things change and priorities change and things like that. So, but if they were either or both of them were to get to a point where like they really dedicated themselves to this, and at some point I felt like my racing got in the way of that, I think I would like to think I would have the wherewithal to step back and make it about them, because I just. Like I said, I never would have dreamed how much enjoyment I get out of seeing them. And it ain't always even seeing them win. You know what I mean? It's just seeing them pick up on things and learn. And sometimes it's, like taking that tough loss and watching how they handle it. And I just, like I say, I was actually talking with Bill Bader this afternoon, and because I'm probably letting the cat out of the bag, that I'm going to do a seminar at their banquet at Norwalk this year. So I'm excited about that. Right. And he's like, well, what are you going to present on? And I was explaining to him, I'm like, well, this might be a little bit heavy-handed or to something to think about, but I tend to approach racing as like a microcosm of life, like racing and competition in general. You know what I mean? Like it's a smaller version of facing everything that we face in life. So I think my presentation is going to kind of be around that. And he's like, I love it. I'm like, okay, good. That makes me feel better, but so that's kind of and seeing my boys go through that. Like, I just know how much racing has done for me, and not in the ways that most of us would think about, just like in the way that I think about myself and the way that it kind of taught me what I'm capable of. And in my case, like built a lot of confidence around being able to do something that I think most of us would agree is pretty freaking do, right? And how that confidence has spilled over into other areas of my life. And seeing little hints of that with my boys is like the coolest thing in the world.
It's like when the light switch turns on for them, and I'm experiencing right now with my daughter. There's my son's 5, but she's 13, and it was like I would get some parts of it, and it's like, all right, we're getting there, and then it's like. Then this year we really turned the corner on a lot of things. Like the finish line is making sense to her more, and I think I've heard you say, we do so much for our kids, but like I can't drive it for her, like you can't drive for them, and it's like, but to see them to be able to execute what you want them to do, it's even more gratifying, I think. And
it's wild. Like my experience is very much the same in that like development curve is not linear. Like my oldest, I felt like I was talking to a wall for like 2 years, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden it was like a switch flipped, and he just started doing all the stuff that we talked about and doing it like perfect. I'm like, what the? This is awesome. But like, how did that happen? You know what I mean? It seems like it's in fits and spells. And like I say, I get tickled with my youngest. He cracks me up. Like we come back, he's 7, so he's been running 1390 all year. And here we don't get enough cars locally. Like it's all runs. So probably 80% of the rounds, I'm like, he's so fast, you're not going to see him. Just hold it to the floor, right? Good luck, right? And so he gets really excited when he gets to race an 1190 or a 1390 car. He's like, Daddy, I can drive the finish line. I'm like, you can try, right? So we're at the team finals at Holly Springs, and he runs this boy, and I see it light up on the scoreboard, and he's down like 8 mile an hour. You don't go but 35 to start with, so 8's a ton. And he's 3/10 above and behind, and the other kid's wind lights on. And I'm like, okay. So I ride down there to him, and I'm like, did you lift or did you break something, right? And he's like, oh, no, I was lifting. I said, well, do you realize that you didn't get there first? Well, I did when his wind light came on.
Y'all got anything else for Luke?
No, I think we covered everything. I sure do appreciate you coming. It's been a pleasure, and I've never had the privilege ever even talking with you other than watching your videos, but definitely a fan of yours. And I think Rusty had talked about. You know, we have the same objective as you do, and that's to help strengthen drag racing. We may do it on different ways. I feel like our show is geared toward bringing attention to our local racers and tracks. Obviously, you're on a much bigger scale, but you really are passionate about helping racers be their best. I appreciate what you do for the sport. It's amazing. We try to do the same thing, and just give people a voice and basically keep these tracks going local. It amazes me how these big buck events just keep blowing up. I don't know where people get the money. I mean, I work hard, and but I'm happy with going over here to the local track, coming home, laying in my bed at night. You know what I mean? That's what I do. But I think it was two tracks I seen closed down this past week. I seen somewhere, and I just like to see them be successful.
Now that, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, like, hey, thank you. And I love what you guys are doing as well. Like this stuff like this is awesome. So kudos to you. Because like I say, I know you're not, I haven't been a podcaster. I know you're not making any money off of it. So that's not the design, right? But what you're doing for the sport at a local regional level is incredible. And so that is, what you just talked about is kind of like, when I zoom out a little bit, it's probably my biggest concern moving forward, because like I said, I grew up in a racing community that to me seems to mirror a lot of what you guys do, with Greer and the surrounding tracks. And at least in our area, that kind of local Saturday night scene isn't near what it once was, and certainly isn't what it was when I was a kid. And so I just worry, like, if I was coming up now, like, how would I learn to race, like, without having that nurturing, that structure? Like, you see a lot of these kids, maybe graduate from juniors and they're on the big dollar scene, and you're like, okay, so the junior direction program did some of that. But like, from I came up, like, my first car, I'd worked the fuel pumps at my home track and saved up money for 2 years and bought this $1,800 jalopy, right? Like, where would I even race that today? And like, how would you come up through the ranks? Like, it seems really intimidating. And maybe it was 30 years ago and I was just numb to it, but it seems like the landscape's changing in a way that makes it a lot harder to get started. And I think, like, long-term, that's a real concern.
Yeah, because I think that there, and like you said, it out there at Kendale, and I think it's the same way with us at Greer, and there's so many places that have a really good group of racers. It's not just where we race, but I felt like it made me better, because and we talk about this a lot, but our guys go off, leave Greer, just probably like you guys, you rattled off all those guys, leave your home track and can compete on a big stage, another local track. It doesn't matter, but you're going to hear those names mentioned, in the results somewhere else. And I think that's a testament to where we were. And like you're saying, it's just not, it's scary. It's really scary.
But I think to echo a little bit of what Luke's saying, I ain't trying to pat us on the back, the Maddoxes on the back, the Mosleys all. But what happens when the Maddoxes and the Mosleys and the Dotsons aren't around anymore? I mean, is it still going to keep going? Is there programs in place like Luke's program that people can watch and learn firsthand instead of having that firsthand experience like we did at the track? So,
right.
Yep.
Well, Luke, I want to say thank you for being on. You've got a big platform and stuff. I mean, do you want to give a little plug to all your schools and what's coming up and anything you want to promote?
I don't know that we get anything out of the ordinary. Like, I think most people associate me with thisisbracketracing.com. So check that out if there's an opportunity for us to help you in your race. And obviously we'd love to give that assist. And then, obviously we get a lot of help on the racing side as well. And what I always go back to is like every sticker you see on our car, every decal you see, it's there for a reason. And at this point, like just kind of like, it's kind of like making money podcasting. Like it's difficult to make money racing. So there was a time where I got a lot of free stuff, but that time has passed. Like by and large, what you see as decals on our cars is those are the parts that we're buying because we think they're the best stuff out there. At this point, I don't want to compete with anything less. So that's what we believe in and what I'd push. But I don't know that there's any need to bore anybody with calling them out manufacturer by manufacturer for sure.
Well, man, we appreciate you again, and again, thanks for what you do. And it's just cool to see where you started and where you come to in your life now, and the boys, taking a notion and wanting to race, and Jessica whooping up on you and all those good things. So.
That's good stuff. No, I appreciate it, Rusty. Thank you. Like I say, I love watching what you guys do as well.
Oh,
They did chimed in. I saw CJ something about it earlier. He dropped 30. He dropped 30 points all year long. I mean, he might have dropped 30 water bottles. That's about as far as
he said we made you look good, Luke. Man.
Yeah, I need to talk with Jed. He's been rough on me lately. Like I don't think there's an underlying issue, but every now and then he's got me wondering. So.
I mean, you used to refer to him as partner. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, y'all used to be partners, but now
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Man, we appreciate you and we hope you good luck, in the future, and I'm sure there's a little bit that you're going to do the rest of the year and into next year, whatever route you decide to go. But
awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Well, that went pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot there to peel back with him. I mean, we went an hour with it, and we probably didn't even scratch the surface with it. So
that's about all we did. Yeah, for sure. Let's keep Vicky Calvert, the passing of Dennis Calvert. Dennis the Menace was a staple over there at Greer and the surrounding areas. Man, he always had a smile on his face. He's always seemed like that guy that you just couldn't never rattle. He always found himself in late rounds. He always did well. But him and Vicky both were really very good people. Vicky's very, very good to me and my family for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then Hank Guyton's dad passed away today. HB. Let's keep Hank's family in our prayers too. We've had a rough go of it this year in our local area with folks passing away. But just keep these folks in your prayers for sure. But Chad, you or Tom have anything else before we?
Before we go right quick, like, got anything coming up this week for anybody? Any racing going on this weekend? This Thanksgiving weekend is it? Got Darlington and was it Farmington's Thanksgiving weekend or next?
Yeah, isn't Piedmont running a foot brake race as well Thanksgiving weekend?
They are. And Jared chimed in. We need there's two foot brake races. You can go south to Montgomery and for the WFC, or Piedmont is having their own foot brake race as well. So I don't have a motor. I mean, I'm probably done for the year, but hopefully
But Jared,
both of those events will get something. So,
but Jared, we're plugging you, and if you need a driver, I know of a fella that can come your way. I went the junior dragster race at Rockingham. That's Thanksgiving weekend too. That's always a good time for sure. But appreciate everybody tuning in. Chad, thanks for sitting in with us as always.
Thank y'all.
We're gonna try to get you a Christmas bonus for the end of the year, man.
Well, I mean, I know I've actually got to sit in the host seat. I mean, whatever big paycheck Rusty gets. I mean, if I just get half of that, I'd be happy. So,
well, I was thinking, unless you get instead of you getting a single combo at Wendy's, we can get you a double and a Frosty. We can do it.
Let me get my. I mean, we're about to wind it down. Shout out to Wendy's. Y'all let me sit in your parking lot every time I'm home.
He needs to get him a white van and sit out there.
That's at least my shout out for this week. Shout out to Wendy's in Columbus, West Mill Street.
I told Luke you was out there with your rabbit ears trying to catch a signal with you
10-4 and everything else.
10-4.
I've got it strung up, but honestly, this time of the year when the leaves get off the tree, I actually get halfway decent service. I say that my phone will shut off before we get done here. But no, shout out to Wendy's.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, what do we need around here to survive?
Just a mic and opportunity.
Mic and opportunity. Take us to the house, hey.